They thought the Husky had decided the baby was a threat. The truth was the opposite, and it almost cost them everything. Nadia Kowalczyk had spent 4 years as a veterinary technician before transitioning to remote data work after her son Phoenix arrived. She had more practical animal behavior knowledge than most parents who ever called a dog trainer. She had administered sedation, monitored vitals, assisted in behavioral assessments. She knew working line dogs. She understood the Husky temperament specifically. When their Husky began sitting directly in front of 6-month-old Phoenix and holding position for extended periods, nose within inches of the baby's face, eyes locked on the baby's eyes, she was one of the most qualified people in any city to misread what was happening. Her misread was almost total. Their Husky, a 2-year-old male named Kaz, had been uninterested in Phoenix for the first 5 months of the baby's life in the way some active working line dogs are uninterested in infants. Not hostile, simply not engaged. Phoenix was not mobile. Phoenix made sounds and smells but no demands on Kaz's time. Kaz had things to do. On a Tuesday in February, Phoenix had a cold. Nothing dramatic, a mild respiratory virus moving through the daycare. Nadia was keeping him home, monitoring, keeping his nasal passages clear, doing what parents do. That afternoon, Kaz came from the bedroom and sat down in front of Phoenix, who was in his bouncy seat in the living room, 6 inches from the baby's face, nose forward, unblinking, absolutely still. Phoenix looked at Kaz. Kaz looked at Phoenix. Neither moved. Nadia came in and found them like that and told Kaz to go lie down. He went, returned within 3 minutes, sat back in front of the baby. Same position, same stillness. In her veterinary training, this quality of stillness, weight forward, nose forward, eyes locked, ears slightly angled, was associated with scent-targeting behavior. An animal that has detected something and is orienting its olfactory system toward the source. She recognized the posture. She categorized it incorrectly. He's found something he doesn't understand, she told her husband, Artur. He may be reacting to the smell of illness. Working dogs sometimes target compromised individuals. It can become an obsessive orientation behavior. It's not aggression, but it's not healthy either. Artur watched Kaz sitting in front of the baby and asked, "Should we separate them?" Nadia said yes. "If you stay for stories about what animals sense before we do, you're in the right place. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one." They separated them. Kaz to the bedroom during Phoenix's waking hours. Nadia felt she had applied the correct professional response to a recognized behavioral pattern. She had used her background, her training, her years of experience. She was completely confident. She was completely wrong. 3 days later, Phoenix's cold had appeared to improve. Less runny nose, better mood. Nadia let Kaz out of the bedroom. He crossed the living room in 4 seconds flat and sat down in front of Phoenix. Same position, same stillness, nose, 2 inches from the baby's face. Except this time, Phoenix was very quiet. The wrong kind of quiet. He had been fuzzier that morning, then suddenly calm. And the calm had a quality to it that Nadia registered in her peripheral awareness before her conscious mind caught up. She looked at Phoenix. His chest was moving, but the rhythm was slightly wrong. Something in the effort ratio, something in the color just at the lip margin. She picked him up. His muscle tone was low. Not floppy, but low. She called the pediatrician's emergency line and described what she was seeing. The nurse said, "Bring him in now." Phoenix had developed RSV-induced bronchiolitis, an inflammation of the small airways that had been building silently while the upper respiratory symptoms of his cold appeared to resolve. His oxygen saturation was 89% when they arrived at the emergency department. Normal is 95 and above. At 89, infants begin to show the subtle signs Nadia had registered: quiet, reduced muscle tone, respiratory effort changes. Dr. Samantha Osei, pediatric pulmonologist, told them that dogs reliably detect oxygen desaturation through breath chemistry changes that precede measurable clinical signs by what can be 20 to 40 minutes in infants. Kaz had been sitting in front of Phoenix, nose forward in scent targeting position, because Phoenix's breath chemistry had been alarming him. Has your dog ever done something you couldn't explain until it was the only thing that made sense? Tell us in the comments. These stories deserve to be heard. Every time Nadia had separated them, she had removed the monitoring system that was functioning. Kaz had simply returned to his post each time the opportunity presented itself, with the focused persistence of an animal that understood the job in a way no one else in that house did. Phoenix spent 4 days in the hospital on supplemental oxygen. He came home with a temporary pulse oximeter and a pediatric respiratory referral. He is now 8 months old and breathing well. Kaz came home and sat down in front of Phoenix in the bouncy seat. He held the position for 5 minutes, nose forward, reading the air. Then he exhaled, moved back to his bed, and lay down. Every guardian deserves to be seen, even the ones who never ask for anything in return. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe so you never miss the next one. Nadia sat with the image of Kaz's posture, wake forward, nose forward, scent targeting. For a long time, she had recognized the posture correctly. She had described what it meant accurately in her own head. She had just decided with all her training and all her confidence that what he was targeting was a behavioral problem. It wasn't a behavioral problem. It was her baby's breath. The next story, a family thought their dog had become aggressive toward their newborn. The truth, which a neonatologist explained to them 3 days later, changed how they slept for the rest of that child's first year.